Sea glass stepping stones. Fun, creative, and very functional. Coming right up. For your garden today, we are making beautiful sea glass stepping stones. Here is a list of things that you'll need. For our garden stepping stone, I am using upcycled glass. It's actually glass that I smashed up and put into my rock tumbler and let it go for about 3 days, and it became like a faux sea glass. So that's what we're using today for this particular project. If you would like to use something that you purchased or maybe found on the beach, that's fine too. Or perhaps you have your own rock tumbler and are tumbling some bottled glass as well. Above is the link that I'll leave for you if you'd like to check out my video on making faux sea glass in a rock tumbler. And that is by simply smashing up the upcycled bottles and putting them in a rock tumbler with some coarse sand or aggregate. It's very easy and it's a lot of fun to do. It's my new toy. Let's move on because these stones aren't going to make themselves. What we're going to do here, we have white spray paint, and we're going to spray the side of the sea glass that is going into the concrete, the side that you're going to actually embed into the concrete. You're going to paint it white. And why do we paint it white? It is to give the color on the top more vividness and brightness, because sea glass will tend, because of its translucency, will tend to pick up the color that it's going into. And of course, we're putting it into concrete, and we don't want it to come across as gray. We want it to come across as this brilliant, the blues and the greens and everything else. So we're going to spray this. I'm going to set it down, let it dry, and we'll go back to pouring our concrete. What we're going to begin by doing is pouring 3 cups of our concrete with the aggregate with 1 cup of just regular concrete mix. And we're going to pour it into our pan in our mold, just to make sure that the measurement is sufficient enough to make the depth of the stepping stone that we want. I would highly suggest, with all the dust from concrete, that you wear some kind of dust mask. So what we're going to do is pour 3 cups, and you can use whatever measuring device you want. I'm going to do 3 cups of the concrete with the aggregate. To 1 cup of our concrete. All right. So this is about as high as I want it to go. You can see here, that's going to fill it up quite nicely. But we're not going to mix it in here. We're going to dump it into another container. Put this container aside, and we'll get some water. What I'm going to do first is actually line my form with a little bit of oil. I'm just going to brush it. This is just vegetable oil. You can use Vaseline. You could use, you could spray something on if you chose to. That's okay. We're just going to do that and put this aside. All right. The next thing is, we're going to take our concrete mixture and we're going to start to add some water. Now, you always pour water into concrete or grout or mortar or anything like that, not pouring the mixture into water. You don't pour the powder into the water. And we're just going to add more, keep it going and mix it. Now, this is fast setting, so I definitely have to work quickly. We don't want a lot of liquid in here. When you mix the water in, you don't want it to be liquidy. You want it to be like a heavy clay, okay? And I'll show you the texture that you're going to be wanting. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. half of my concrete in, and I'm going to add this little sheet of metal right here, and this is going to give it a lot more support. And I'm going to pour the rest of my concrete in. You can feel free to eliminate some of the rocks or aggregate that may sit at the top. Okay. See, I think I'm going to start from the outside. The hardest part of this, of making sea glass stepping stones, or any stepping stone for that matter, is the waiting time of the concrete to cure. Because if you do it too early and you step on it, it could crack, or it could simply just crack coming out of the mold if it's too wet. I may even throw a few marbles in there. That might be kind of pretty. If you find there's a little liquid on the top of your cement stepping stone, don't worry, just dab it with either a work cloth or paper towel or toilet paper. This is looking pretty good. What I had done was I cut up, actually I didn't cut, I smashed up some of this green quartz. So I had actually gotten that. I bought this, let me see, at a rock mining place down in the Redlands, and they had huge slabs of this. I thought this is so beautiful. So what I did is I just took a hammer and cut some up and put it as a filler in some of the little crevasses here. I think it's so, so pretty. And it adds a little brightness, a little bit more brightness. This is going to be really pretty when it fully dries, and that is going to actually be probably 4 days, maybe even longer. It's looking good. All right, on to the next one. It's been 24 hours and I'm going to release my stepping stones from their mold. The only reason I have this on, by the way, is because my pan kept separating, which is why I didn't use it anymore for cooking. It was a real disaster. So I'm just going to release this. And it's holding actually the belt part here together, the release part. And look at that, nice, huh? Now we're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to continue to let it dry, but that looks pretty good. As you can see how wet it is still there, but taking it out of its container, out of its mold, will certainly help in aiding the circulation of the air to get around it. It's going to be really nice. Okay, we're at the big reveal. We just removed the forms, and we're simply, I actually already started cleaning up the glass here. And I'm going to scrub loose any type of concrete that may have formed on the top here. And I'm just using some water and a toothbrush. Now look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. Hi. Ziva and I would like to thank you for joining us, and we really hope you had a great time. Ziva also tells me that she would like to make a paw print stepping stone for the garden. I think that's a great idea, so stay tuned for another video coming up in this 4-part series on creating stepping stones. Right, Ziva? Can you say goodbye? Give me the paw pump? Thank you so much for joining us. Have a beautiful day.